Welcome to Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, this Day Weather Podcast, brought to you by Converse County Tourism. Douglas and Glen Rock, Wyoming are bustling with action this season. Plan your excursion, including fun activities, beautiful downtowns, and historic treasures. Learn more at conversecountytourism.com. Well, it is going to just be blah. Good way to describe it over the western United States over the days ahead, as it is really going to be feeling and looking like winter out there. While the weather is going to be kind of spread out over a large geographic area, there's certainly going to be a concentration where the weather will be the most intense, and we'll show you that here in a moment. But all of the western high plains, the interior west, the Rockies, back into the Great Basin states and into the southwestern United States is going to be feeling like winter. We're going to have very windy areas. Some of you may be hearing the wind or heard the wind outside last night starting to blow in some areas. A strong Canadian cold front is pushing through, and this is going to cause wind. This is going to cause areas of snow in the north and areas of snow in the south as the system coming in is going to split. And what that will do is make it a little snowy for Montana, parts of northern and western Wyoming, parts of Idaho. Then the southern branch of this system is going to bring snow, more snow to parts of Colorado, into the Four Corners area, into northern New Mexico. Then the splitting storm, the piece that's left behind, comes back through Friday and Saturday. And those areas I highlighted yesterday are still on target to pick up significant rain and snow Friday and Saturday. That's going to be an impactful storm system if you have to travel in parts of the Central High Plains and Rockies. We'll show you where that's going to be. There's another strong Canadian cold front due Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. That's likely to spread pretty chilly air over a large part of the U.S. as it comes on through. So November really showing itself as certainly being a lot more, let's say, typical, quote marks, they're typical, as compared to what we saw in the month of October. So we're seeing scenes like this from Estes Park, Colorado. Starting to see the snow get a little bit deeper on some of the mountain slopes of the west, but we're also getting some beautiful shots like this of sunrises and sunsets across the region. And as we take a look at where we're going to be today, this is the area of high winds, the usually strong windy areas of I-25 and Interstate 80. So travelers, be ready for high winds in those areas there. The system coming in from the northwest, prompting winter weather advisories in the purple and winter storm warnings in the pink. For the Bighorns, winter weather advisory for the Sheridan area. And then if we go into Colorado where the storm splits, we still have winter weather advisories for the mountain areas, but also the higher elevations here of Interstate 70. As you go through Lyman here, as you go through the Palmer Divide and north of Colorado Springs, this is just the first system, the other one coming later. So if traveling through the region, especially through Colorado, you're going to have some travel concerns, but Montana and Wyoming as well. The satellite imagery this morning showing the very strong jet stream winds coming in behind it. You may be looking at these clouds right here and think, well, that looks like forest fire smoke. Well, this is not fire smoke. This is high-level clouds, lenticular wave clouds, being formed off the mountains of Washington and northern Oregon here due to the strong winds aloft coming in from the north-northwest. And then you can see a swirl of clouds right here. So basically you can see the movement of the clouds, just like this. That's the jet stream digging in and pulling in. If you watch the movement of the clouds up here, they're going this way. So here comes the cold air. The door is wide open. And there you can see on the 500 millibar chart what you're seeing there on the satellite imagery. The packing of the lines here indicating the very strong jet stream winds racing through the Pacific Northwest and coming on through. This is a very wintry type pattern that you're seeing developing here. As we go forward and take a look at the strong winds aloft, this is by noon today. So to give you an idea of how strong those winds are, these are winds coming in from the north-northwest. Right here, this is approaching 150 knots of wind speed. These are really strong jet stream winds. That's why part of this trough is going to end up all the way down here. It just got a lot going on with those strong jet stream winds digging. So imagine at 30,000 feet, you're flying to Seattle here. Whoa, you're going to be hit by a strong wind coming in from the north, just like this. So that's a pretty powerful jet stream wind, and the end result will be the windy areas. So you can see the wind right here. You can see strong winds across the windy parts of Montana as well. And then you can see the strong winds, as we just showed you on those clouds forming off the mountains of Washington and Oregon. As we go through today, be ready for those winds. Then the storm begins to split by tomorrow morning, with one piece going along the U.S.-Canadian border, and those strong jet stream winds I just showed you just drive this guy all the way down here. And then it gets cut off from the main flow. These are the temperature anomalies by noon tomorrow. So you can see the cold pushing in. A big plume of cold air just punching into the western United States. Look at Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, just very cold coming on in. This is the precipitation through the next 48 hours. So we're going to see a swath of rain and snow right here with this low coming in and pushing south. There's also going to be an area of moisture up here. So there's two areas of moisture, the northern and the southern areas, the central part of this trough where it splits. So you can see what happens when these systems split. You're not left with much when they split. And that's been a common occurrence here this fall as we started to see these storms coming through. We get moisture in the north. We're starting to see these storms produce quite a bit of moisture in the south. But if you're left in the middle, you're just left out, basically. And that's what's happening with this next trough coming on in. This is the snow through the next 48 hours. So we're going to see another snow event right here in central and southern Colorado, northern New Mexico, some snow in the Wasatch. Here's that other area of snow from northern Wyoming up into Alberta and British Columbia and southern Saskatchewan. So it's going to be very wintry here. No one's going to get a ton of snow, but just very wintry. Then that low gets cut off. It ends up in southwest New Mexico by Friday morning. It is completely cut off from the jet stream. However, the winds aloft around this low are strong, and by then the winds aloft are coming up around the base of the trough. So that's why this low is going to go to the north. Once these systems get cut off, they can wobble, and that's why we just have to watch this system, because one little wobble east, one little wobble west could push the heavier precipitation. And so we just have to keep an eye on it, because when these jet stream winds detach the lows and they wobble, the models have a hard time really pinpointing where the wobble will go. But by Saturday morning, the models, their best guess is for that low to be up into far western areas of Kansas by Saturday morning. So upslope will ensue. Also, the Gulf of Mexico is open, and that's going to entrain moisture around it. That's why this is going to be a weather maker. Here is the precipitation forecast with the second low as it kicks out. So as we showed you yesterday, there's going to be another swath of heavy moisture in this region right here, the significant moisture for the southern plains and for central and eastern Colorado. And then moisture is going to get all the way up into Nebraska with this. Now, as we mentioned, there might be an eastward shift, a northern shift, a more westward shift, depending on where that upper low is going to want to wobble overnight Friday into Saturday. But you can see there's a sharp line between getting moisture and not getting any at all as it comes on through. That's why the wobble makes you nervous if you're on the edges. So we'll just keep an eye on it. If we were to convert that to snow, look at this. This is just a 10-to-1 ratio. This could really wallop Raton Pass, southern areas of Colorado and northeastern New Mexico, the I-70 corridor of Colorado into northern and northwestern Kansas. This is overnight Friday into the day Saturday. If you have any designs on travel in this area I'm highlighting right here, you've got problems. This is going to be a major winter storm, and you don't get a lot of these in November, at least early November in this part of the world, but this has got a lot going for it. So this could be a very impactful storm. Livestock interests in Colorado, New Mexico, western Kansas, you got to keep an eye on this system along with you travelers. Now, this is where by Sunday morning, the low gets back to the jet stream. It gets back home, so to speak. It gets entrained back. This little wave, you see this little guy right here? This may produce some snow in Montana and northern Wyoming, so Yellowstone Park, Jackson, Sheridan, the northern parts of Wyoming, Billings, you might get a little bit of snow. This may affect the Black Hills as well. As we get into Sunday, that little wave will catch up with that guy there. Here comes the next trough coming in right behind it. And that's going to look at the source region. See the source region of air with this system? As it drops south, here we go. Strong cold front comes in late Monday, overnight Monday into Tuesday. That spreads very cold air, and it gets pushed further across the U.S. So the transition of seasons to an early winter season really taking place now across North America. Have yourself a good Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.